Hi, Leon.
How's it
How
going?
are you?
I'm good,
We
thank you.
said Leon. We said Leon.
Yes, Leon. Yeah,
Yeah, for me, Lyon is a city in France. So,
I,
because
yeah,
I'm French after all. So,
definitely the same pronunciation.
yeah, if only you knew how we say Lyon in French, you would not like it.
Oh yeah, how do you say it? How do you say it over there?
Léon.
Oh wow, that's
Very
different.
rough. And so I'm very happy to talk to you because you you signed like 1 year ago. You haven't done a lot of interviews, so I'm pretty happy to be um, talking to you
Likewise. Yeah,
about uh, about this first year and this match that you had. So last Thursday
yes,
against Speedball, your first title chance
yeah.
at the X-Division Championship. What would you say about this match?
Honestly, I would say it was the match of my life. To
Oh,
short and sweet. I think Speedball is one of those performers and one of those wrestlers that forces you to get better every time you step in the ring with him. I've been blessed enough to step in the ring with him 3 times, only one time in TNA. But every time I feel like I've come away with a lesson learned. And I feel like I've definitely progressed as a professional wrestler. So I'm very excited for people to get eyes on it and get chance to watch it. Unfortunately, I didn't pick up the win. But even in defeat, like I said, Speedball is incredible, and just having the chance to step in the ring with him for such a prestigious prize like the X-Division Championship, which is a massive, massive goal of mine in TNA, was truly an honor.
you are replying a question in some ways where was the is the division title the goal, of course, but do you still have in mind the fact that you still have nearly a year to beat Amazing Red, who was the youngest X Division champion at 21 years old, and 4 days when you are at 20 years old and 20 days, if I, if I make the count well, um, you realize that you have like 11 months to make history.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's something I definitely not taken lightly. Although 11 months sounds like a long time, pro wrestling moves fast. So realizing that 11 months is not a super long time, and in my mind, the earlier I can get this done, the longer my name is going to stand in the record books. Because I don't see many other 20-year-olds knocking me off the list, at least yet. So I'm trying to get this goal completed as quickly as possible, efficiently as possible, and as soon as possible.
But I was about to say the young Leon, but you were so young, so it sounds crazy. But when you were watching, you were as old as TNA in some ways.
Yeah.
Uh, um, when you were watching TNA, when you were this young kid in front of television, was that title, everything it represents, something important when you were watching wrestling?
Absolutely, absolutely. So for me, when we like in the UK, WWE was only on Sky. So I found TNA through YouTube at the time. So like as a 6, 7 year old little boy, watching TNA on the internet, I fell in love with the X Division. Like people like AJ Styles, Frankie Kazarian, Chris Sabin, all of these guys from the X Division just absolutely blew my mind as a child, and people still do now. And I think that's what the X Division's about. So to have grown up on that division, and be a part of it now, and like I said, like get chance to challenge for that belt, is something I hold very, very near and dear to my heart.
It's history, and it's being a part of history, like people is doing that right now, like Chris Sabin and all of these great people did before. Um, it's like it reminds me when I was watching WCW because I'm older enough. I watched WCW, and the great thing about it was to watch cruiserweight matches when
Exactly.
it's when it was happening. So when TNA, and it was not easy to see TNA in France. Obviously, we wanted to see AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe. It was great. It was fantastic to
Uh,
watch. Um, so yeah, it's been a year, 1 year of TNA. Were you expecting to be signed by a major company? I will say major company, but um, a big company like TNA so fast in your career because you were only 19 years old at that time. And my friend John was in Newcastle, saw you
oh,
wrestling. Oh my God, they must sign him. And then after it
oh,
was announced, you were signed, so it was great.
that,
But were you expecting something like that so early in your career?
uh-huh. So I think there's two answers. I think the more humble answer is no. Because it's a very surreal thing to happen, especially the way it happened for me. I was lucky enough to get signed in front of a crowd in the ring by the man himself, Scott Demore. So I don't take that lightly at all. And I definitely wasn't expecting it to happen the way it happened. However, um, I like to think that I carry myself with almost a humble arrogance to the point where I'm very confident in my abilities and I'm very confident in myself. The reason being, I've been wrestling since I was 9 years old. So although I am very young, and my experience within TNA is very limited, I've been training for this my whole life. And my whole goal, since I was a baby, since I can remember, has been to be a professional wrestler. So at no point in my life was there ever a question, I wonder if I'll get signed. It was always a question of, I wonder when I'll get signed. Um, so I was, again, very, very lucky to be a part of the Impact Tour last year. And I kind of had an inkling that something might have happened. Something might be happening, sorry, because I was the only UK talent with all 4 dates on the tour. So I kind of had a little kind of guessing game that something might be going on. But at this stage in my career, I think it would be silly for me to say that I expected it. But it's something that I've always expected will happen at some point in my career.
So quickly, and it reminded me because I've been interviewing talents for like 7 years now.
Oh wow.
My God, I'm growing old. I'm not going to tell you how old I am because you will feel extremely bad. So,
No, no.
um, no. Later, later. Um, I mean, uh, I think about Chris Bey. I think about people like Ace Austin. They were signed really early, and we
Yes.
see now what TNA allowed them to become. And um, are you um, are these people an inspiration for you
Absolutely.
to move the same? You're working. You had a tag match with a free 6-man match recently. You were working with them. Uh, when you realize what TNA allowed them to do, has allowed them to do, you feel like I'm in the right place because they are successful.
100%. I feel like TNA is the absolute perfect place for me right now and for the next, like for the foreseeable future, to be honest. And like you said, like people like the ABC, people like Mike Bailey, and even going back like to people like Josh Alexander, who's been with us for a while, and going back even further to people like AJ Styles. Like TNA is famous for being a launching pad for so many careers. And don't get me wrong, like I see myself being in TNA for a long, long while. And I'm excited to go on this journey because, like you said, I've seen the growth of ABC and Josh and AJ Styles to even a bigger extent, right? So I'm very excited to see how not only TNA will allow me to progress, but see how I personally progress, like not just in my career, but I'm looking forward to see to almost looking into the future and seeing what a 21-year-old Leon Slater looks like, a 22-year-old Leon Slater looks like. And I think being a part of TNA and having TNA mold me as I'm growing as a performer and as a person is something again that I don't take very lightly, and I'm very proud of.
It's good to keep the feet right on the ground. Um, was it more important for you to sign with a company that allows you to have one foot in the UK, one foot in the US, and also allows you to work for indie companies, I think GCW, other companies? Do you enjoy that freedom mostly at the beginning of your career?
100%. I think especially when it comes to the freedom of the independent dates, as a young wrestler and as a wrestler in general, I personally feel like we never stop learning. So I'm not saying my learning would have been stunted if the situation was different, but my learning has definitely been excelled by getting the chance to work TV in America with TNA and still be at home and work the progresses and when I'm in the States, work stuff like GCW. Because again, as a young wrestler, I'm just trying to get these reps under my belt and I'm trying to be the best I can possibly be. And this freedom to allow such a busy schedule, especially when TNA isn't live TV and we have the tapings twice a week. I still got 2 other weeks to fill, right? So the chance to be able to fill those weeks has been something I've appreciated, and something I'm trying to take advantage of to the fullest.
Yeah, and you're so young, there's so many things that can happen, and that's like, oh, I don't remember. Suddenly, I don't remember. We say the sky is the limit. Yeah, it comes back now. So, the little quiz that I prepared especially for you, a little Q&A, the first year of Leon in TNA.
Let's do it.
Leon, what is your favorite match of your first year in TNA?
I've got to say my favorite match from the first year has got to be me and Mike Bailey for the X-Division Championship for sure, for sure.
Second question, who is the favorite opponent that you have faced in this first year?
That's a tough one. That's a tough. I think there's a lot of people that I could name here, Mike Bailey being one of them. I don't want to give him 2 answers. So a couple of my other favorite people to mix it up with has been Trey Miguel and Zach Wentz from the Rascals. I've had a couple of encounters with those boys in a couple of different formats, and it's always been challenging and it's always been fun. Someone that I'd like to mix up with a little bit more is Jake Something. He was a part of my debut match in Windsor. We were in like a 6-man scramble, which he actually won to contend for the X-Division Championship. We still to get that singles, but I think Jake would present a lot of challenges for me, and would definitely help me get better and force me to grow.
And what is the favorite feud if you had? I don't know exactly. Yeah, the feud, the series of match that you appreciated this year.
So my personal favorite, from my perspective, I guess has probably been my little back and forth with the Rascals. Going back to those boys, we had the 6-man in Vegas. I've had a singles with Zach on Explosion. I've had a singles with Trey on TV, which actually got run in by Charlie Dempsey, which went to a no contest. So that definitely needs to get run back. But like I said, like every time I step in the ring with those guys, it's a challenge, but it's still fun. You know what I'm saying? And the Rascals present a great kind of hill for me to climb because I'm still to get a win over them. I got a win over them in that 6-man action, but in singles competition, they are still undefeated against you boy. So I definitely need to get those W's back on the board against the Rascals.
And last question of this quiz. We say quiz, yeah, we say quiz, yeah.
Quiz.
Who is your favorite people to go to talk to in the TNA locker room or production team, whoever?
Absolutely. So I've the TNA locker room is one of the most fun places and the most welcoming places that I've ever been in. So like I could name an endless list of people I love talking to. But I guess a couple of standouts would be the Commonwealth crew, as we're known, or at least amongst ourselves, that's how we're known. It's me, George Iceman, Trent Seven, Mike Bailey. Jake something is like an honorary member. But Iceman for sure. He's a character. And Santino too. Santino's in the Commonwealth too. So we got a lot of characters in our
Mamma
little
mia.
Mamma Mia.
Mamma mia.
Exactly.
You were talking about Charlie Dempsey, and it allows me to talk about NXT because your name was, we heard your name on TV. There's like an open door for you to come to NXT. A door that was forbidden, like we used to
Yeah.
say. Now everything's possible. Would you explode the door and enter NXT? Who would you like to face in NXT?
Absolutely. It's definitely something I want to explore. I think the opportunity to go over to that side is something that boosts any career, especially someone at my stage. I think I'd have to agree with the kind of buzz that's happening on the internet. I think me and Javon Evans, either as a tag team or as a singles, would be very, very interesting. And again, I think he would present a challenge for me, and I definitely think I'll present a challenge for him. So Javon Evans is number one on my list for sure.
Wesley too, for me.
And Wesley, that's a very good point. That's a very good point. Formerly a Rascal too, so maybe I could get that W back.
It was a rascal. It's not a rascal anymore. I forget to talk about Born for Glory, of course. It's a big event in the history of the company, in the year of the company, and it's your first. Which match can we expect to see you? Because as it seems, it will not be the X-Division match. We don't know. Um, are you gonna be a part of Bound for Glory?
Yeah, I am in Detroit for Bound for Glory and the TNA Impact tapings afterwards. And of course, you can catch both of these TNA Plus for our international viewers. You can catch the Impact tapings in Detroit and on the TNA Plus and on Access TV at 8 p.m. Eastern. But yes, I will be in Detroit for the weekend of Bound for Glory. I'm gonna not put any spoilers out on what I'm doing yet. Like I said, you're gonna have to tune into TNA Plus and find out.
I love that. We learned today, yesterday or today, I don't even know. Rhino and Bob Ryder are going into the TNA Hall of Fame. Do you agree with the choices? Mostly someone like Rhino who has done so much. And who would be your personal choice for
So
the Hall of
I
Fame?
definitely agree with these choices. I most definitely agree with these choices. Rhino is someone that's helped me out a lot personally, and someone that was very welcoming on my first tour back last October for the Impact tour. So Rhino is an absolute legend, and he most definitely deserves to be in the TNA Hall of Fame. And Bob Ryder, I unfortunately never got the chance to meet Bob, but from what I've heard, he was an outstanding guy. Again, who had his hands in a lot of pots, and was a very positive person to have around, and helped TNA grow to the point it is now. So I must definitely agree with the Hall of Fame entries this year. And I guess as my personal pick for the Hall of Fame, I think it goes without saying that AJ Styles has to be in the TNA.
I was doing the equal.
Exactly. I think AJ is kind of infamous for putting TNA on the map. Arguably, TNA is the company that AJ Styles, along with others, built from the ground up back when we were starting out. So I think AJ is an absolute first ballot, unquestionable, most definite TNA Hall of Famer in the near future.
And he said to some other paper, I don't remember exactly, but I saw that recently, that he heard your message, and he was like, whenever he wants. in TNA, or he was really ready to have a match against you. So I wish
Wow,
it to you.
incredible.
Both of
I've
you.
seen that. I've got to find that out. Wow, that's incredible, though. That's great to hear.
Yeah, I saw that when I was preparing this interview. So I wish you that thing. Um, what would be your dream match in TNA? And
So,
that would be my last question.
so staying on subject, I think it would be AJ Styles. Um, I think I like to think that I'm
Right now, maybe in this current roster.
on the current roster. Okay, that's a whole different question. Um, but on the current roster, I would have to say either I think it's a toss up between two. For me, or maybe even three, or maybe even three. For me, option number one is the Hardy Boys, Jeff and Matt. Simply being, they were my guys growing up. I grew up on the Hardy Boys. I am a wrestler because of the Hardy Boys. So whether it's a singles with Matt, a singles with Jeff, who obviously inspired the Swanton 450 that I've kind of become known for, whether it's a singles, whether it's a tag match, I would love to mix it up with the Hardys. And I guess the other two would probably be Josh Alexander as my other option because he's become the standard of TNA and I'd like to test myself against that standard. And Frankie Kazarian because he's changed a lot since the October tour last year. And again, he's undefeated against me. I've never beaten Frankie Kazarian and I've never wrestled Frankie Kazarian on TNA TV. So I think both of those matches, all three of those matches, in fact, would be very, very interesting and are definitely on my bucket list.
And I wish you this. I wish you to have these matches, and I wish you the best because you're just. It's just the beginning. You have so much in front of you, and I wish you the best. Thank you very much, Leon, for this moment. That really good, cool interview, cool guy, and thank you so much.
Steph.